The top 10 best debate moments of all time. Debates have produced numerous memorable moments throughout history. While opinions on the best moments may vary. Number 10. Lincoln-Douglas Debates, 1858. The Lincoln-Douglas debates were a series of 7 debates between Abraham Lincoln, the Republican candidate, and Stephen A. Douglas, the Democratic incumbent, during the 1858 United States Senate election campaign in Illinois. The debates were a pivotal moment in American political history and played a significant role in shaping public opinion on the issue of slavery leading up to the Civil War. Number 9. Kennedy-Nixon Debates, 1960. The Kennedy-Nixon debates were a series of televised debates between John F. Kennedy, the Democratic Party's nominee, and Richard Nixon, the Republican Party's nominee, during the 1960 United States presidential election. These debates are often considered a landmark event in American political history as they marked the first time that presidential candidates engaged in televised debates. There were a total of 4 debates, held in September and October of 1960. The debates played a significant role in shaping the outcome of the election and influencing the way political campaigns were conducted in the future. Number 8. Reagan-Mondale Youth and Inexperience, 1984. During the 1984 United States presidential election, Ronald Reagan, the incumbent president and a Republican, was seeking re-election. His Democratic opponent was Walter Mondale, who had served as vice president under President Jimmy Carter from 1977 to 1981. The phrase youth and inexperience became emblematic of Reagan's dismissal of Mondale's candidacy. In a pivotal moment during the second presidential debate, Reagan deflected concerns about his own age by quipping, "I will not make age an issue of this campaign. I am not going to exploit, for political purposes, my opponent's youth and inexperience." Reagan's witty response effectively turned the tables on the narrative, downplaying his own age as a potential issue and suggesting that Mondale's relative youth and perceived lack of experience were more significant concerns. Number 7. Bush-Dukakis-Kitty Dukakis, 1988. The Bush-Dukakis presidential election of 1988 refers to the campaign for the United States presidency between the Republican candidate, Vice President George H.W. Bush, and the Democratic candidate, Governor Michael Dukakis of Massachusetts. One of the notable incidents during this election was the controversy surrounding Kitty Dukakis. During the campaign, questions were raised about how her struggles might impact her husband's ability to govern effectively if he were to become president. The Bush campaign, led by Vice President Bush and his team, made subtle references to her struggles in an attempt to question Dukakis's readiness for the presidency. The most memorable instance related to Kitty Dukakis occurred during the second presidential debate on October 13, 1988. The moderator, Bernard Shaw, asked Michael Dukakis a hypothetical question, "Governor, if Kitty Dukakis were raped and murdered, would you favor an irrevocable death penalty for the killer?" Dukakis's response, which was measured and unemotional, focused on his opposition to the death penalty rather than showing personal emotion. The question and Dukakis's response drew attention to his perceived lack of emotional depth and strength, and many believed it contributed to his image as detached and unfeeling. Number 6. Lloyd Bentsen to Dan Quayle You're no Jack Kennedy, 1988. During the 1988 vice presidential debate, Democratic vice presidential candidate Lloyd Bentsen delivered the famous line, "Senator, you're no Jack Kennedy," to his Republican opponent Dan Quayle. This memorable moment occurred on October 5, 1988, when Quayle, a relatively young and inexperienced senator, compared himself to John F. Kennedy, the beloved former president. Quayle had mentioned his own experience in Congress as a comparison to Kennedy's when discussing the qualifications for the presidency. Bentsen responded with the sharp and now iconic retort, highlighting the vast difference in experience and stature between Quayle and the late President Kennedy. The implication of Bentsen's remark was that Quayle's comparison was inappropriate and that he couldn't measure up to the legacy and accomplishments of someone like John F. Kennedy. Bentsen's response was seen as a powerful moment in the debate and is often cited as an example of a well-executed political put-down. Number 5. Gore Bush Lockbox, 2000. The term lockbox gained prominence during the debates between the Democratic candidate, Al Gore, and the Republican candidate, George W. Bush. During the debates, Al Gore frequently mentioned creating a lockbox for Social Security funds. He was trying to emphasize his commitment to protecting Social Security funds and ensuring that they would be used exclusively for funding Social Security benefits for retirees, rather than being used for other government expenditures. The idea was to prevent the government from dipping into the Social Security funds for other purposes, which was a concern for many Americans who relied on Social Security for their retirement income. The use of the term lockbox became a memorable part of the 2000 election debates, and it highlighted the different approaches and priorities of the two candidates regarding Social Security and fiscal responsibility. Ultimately, George W. Bush won the 2000 presidential election and became the 43rd President of the United States. Number 4. Obama-Romney binders full of women, 2012. The phrase binders full of women became a notable moment during the 2012 United States presidential election. It was uttered by the Republican candidate, Mitt Romney, during the second presidential debate on October 16, 2012. In response to a question about pay equity for women in the workplace, in his response, Romney was discussing his efforts as governor of Massachusetts to increase gender diversity in his cabinet. He mentioned that he had received binders full of women as potential candidates for various positions. The phrase quickly gained attention and became a viral meme, with many people finding it awkward and out of touch. Critics argued that Romney's comment highlighted a lack of understanding of women's issues and seemed to suggest that he needed to be provided with binders of qualified women in order to consider them for leadership positions. Supporters of Romney contended that his intention was to showcase his efforts to promote gender diversity in his cabinet. Number 3. Clinton-Trump wrong, 2016. In the 2016 election, Hillary Clinton, a Democrat and former Secretary of State, ran against Donald Trump, a Republican and businessman. Many polls and political analysts predicted a victory for Clinton, but the actual results were different, leading to discussions about the accuracy of polling and the surprise outcome. Clinton won the popular vote by nearly 3 million votes. But Trump secured victory through the Electoral College system by winning key swing states. The presence of third-party candidates like Gary Johnson, Libertarian, and Jill Stein, Green Party, also contributed to discussions about the impact of third-party voters on the election's outcome. Number 2. Harris-Pence fly, 2020. The Harris-Pence fly incident refers to a notable moment during the 2020 United States vice presidential debate between then Vice President Mike Pence and Senator Kamala Harris, who was the Democratic nominee for vice president. The debate took place on October 7, 2020, and one of the unexpected highlights of the event was a fly that landed and remained on Vice President Pence's head for several minutes. The fly landed on Pence's head and stayed there, capturing the attention of viewers and quickly becoming a viral sensation on social media platforms. The incident prompted a flurry of memes, jokes, and commentary online. Some people found humor in the situation, while others used it to make various political and symbolic interpretations. The fly's prolonged presence on Pence's head during a nationally televised event led to widespread speculation and discussions. It was a lighthearted moment during a tense political debate and served as a diversion from the serious topics being discussed. Number 1. Biden-Ryan laughter, 2012. The Biden-Ryan laughter refers to a moment that occurred during the 2012 United States vice presidential debate between the Democratic vice presidential nominee, then Vice President Joe Biden, and the Republican vice presidential nominee, Congressman Paul Ryan. During the debate, which took place on October 11, 2012, at Center College in Danville, Kentucky, there was a notable exchange that led to laughter from both the candidates and the audience. The exchange involved Biden's reaction to some of the claims and statements made by Paul Ryan. At one point, Paul Ryan was discussing the Republican ticket's plan for Medicare reform. He mentioned that their plan would not affect people who are currently 55 years old or older, implying that it would only impact younger generations. Biden responded with a grin and laughter, suggesting skepticism about the claims being made. He then proceeded to challenge Ryan's assertions and present his own views on the matter. Thanks for watching, and until next time, stay awesome.